come on in. Thanks for coming back to my channel and welcome to my apartment. I thought that it would be cool if I showed you guys what my apartment in Germany is like and point out some of the differences I've noticed between your standard German apartment and your standard American apartment. And the first thing I'll say is that a lot of Germans learn English from British instructors, and the Brits call their apartments flats. And so a German, when speaking English, will often refer to their apartment as a flat, whereas we call them apartments. So when you first walk into your standard German apartment, you'll notice a bunch of shoes on the ground. And that's basically because when a German comes home, they'll arrive, they'll take off their shoes, and they'll put on what they call house shoes, or basically just slippers. So that way they're not tracking in any mud or dirt or anything from outside and into their house. And that's pretty cool, but I thought it was a little weird whenever I went to a German apartment for like a party and I was expected to bring my own house shoes. Sometimes the host will provide house shoes if they have enough, depending on the size of the party. But yeah, I had to bring my own house shoes, and when I got there, I was expected to take off my shoes and put on slippers to then socialize with everyone, which I thought was pretty strange. All right, let's go into the kitchen. So German kitchens to me are really, really different, primarily because Germans actually move their kitchens, which I know, it sounds crazy. So I never really understood why, when I went into IKEA in America, why there was like this huge section dedicated to kitchens. Like, how many people are getting their houses built and needing to buy cabinets and counters and whatever for the house? And then I moved to Germany and found out that Germans will go and buy their own kitchen, install it into their apartment or their flat, and then will actually, if they're moving, will deinstall that kitchen, take it with them, reformat it, because obviously not every kitchen is shaped exactly the same, and then they will reinstall it. Now, obviously there's exceptions to this. Some Germans will be able to sell their kitchen to their landlord or maybe the person that's taking over the lease after them, but for the most part, they move their kitchen with them. Another different thing is that their refrigerators are drastically smaller than ours, and it's kind of hard to show you on this video without doing a side-by-side comparison, but if you think about it, I'm 5'7", and this is the top of my shoulder, and this is the top of the fridge. So my shoulder is actually above the height of the fridge, and the freezer is pretty small too. Another thing is their dishwashers. So water in Germany is like really, really, really hard. If I remember correctly, when I looked it up, our hardest water is still like 10 times softer than Germans' softest water. That's how hard their water is. So because of their hard water, Germans will actually add additives into their dishwasher to soften the water and make sure that it doesn't create this like film or calcium like buildup or residue on their dishes. Another thing is that I have never seen a Keurig for the entire time that I've been in Germany. I don't know if they're here or not, but I've never seen one. But I have seen coffee appliances from other brands. So Tassimo is a popular brand that you'll see in Germany, and so is Nespresso, and there's a bunch of other ones. But I've never seen a Keurig here, which is kind of interesting because I feel like Keurig just like took over America over the past couple years. All right, I think that's all for the kitchen, so let's move to the bathroom. So as I walk into the bathroom, the first thing I'll point out is the toilet. So they don't have handles to flush their toilets. What they have are buttons, and usually there's 2 of them. And as I always say, the bigger the button, the bigger the flush. And you'll also notice that there isn't that top part to the toilet that we have, and that's because it's like inside the wall there. And the toilet doesn't sit on the ground, it's basically just floating in the air there. Also, a lot of German flats will have their washer and dryer inside their bathroom. So another different thing is that they have these cool heaters inside their bathrooms, which are basically like towel rack shaped heaters. So when you turn it on, not only is it heating up the bathroom, but it's also warming up your towel, which is pretty awesome when you're getting out of the shower. What is not awesome though is that, again, because of this hard water thing, if you have a shower like this, where it's like this glass wall, you are going to have to squeegee every single time you get out of the shower. And it drives me crazy because like it's just another step I have to take when I'm getting ready in the morning is to squeegee down the shower. And if you don't squeegee down the shower, you get these really bad hard water stains on your glass, and it takes kind of like a lot of effort to wash them off. All right, I think that's all for the bathroom. Let's head to the bedroom. And I'm sorry my place isn't as clean as it probably should be for this apartment tour, but truth be told, I don't really care. So the first thing I always notice about a German bedroom or their hotel rooms, a lot of times, they have these two mattresses that lay next to each other to make up, this is basically like a queen size bed. And if you notice, those are actually two different blankets too. And when I moved in with my boyfriend, I thought it was like really weird. It seemed like, I was like, what is this, the 50s? We can't sleep in the same bed together. And I've grown to love it. It is awesome. I sleep so well, and I think it's just like the better way, because if you think about it, it's not exactly natural to sleep right next to someone and be able to get like super restful sleep because maybe they move or are making noise or whatever. But for some reason, having this like defined sleeping space for yourself, you get like way better sleep. So if you look behind me, you'll notice that this is like a wardrobe, and again, it looks similar to IKEA, right? What you'd see in IKEA. And that's because Germans, they don't have closets. They don't do the closet thing. So you basically have to go and buy wardrobes from furniture stores if you want to be able to hang up your clothes, because there are no other options. There are no closets. Another thing I'll point out in here are the windows, and I think they're pretty cool. I've heard that a lot of Americans think that the German windows are super fascinating. So this isn't a window, I mean this is a door, but it's the same mechanism. So you can either open it completely, right? Or you can bring the handle up and it'll just, as I call it the German way of opening. So I don't really know like what a proper term for it should be, but basically it just tilts the glass away from the wall, and so you get some air flow without opening the entire window or door. I think it's pretty cool. All right, let's go into, oh, one more thing. So their light switches are different. Instead of having like the actual like switch looking things that we have, they have basically square buttons as their switches. And they also don't really have doorknobs. I don't think I've ever seen a doorknob in Germany. They mostly have door handles. This is what I'm used to seeing all throughout Germany. All right, let's go into the living room. So the furniture in here I think is pretty standard. Again, it looks like something you'd see in IKEA, and I'm sure any German hearing me say this all is probably really annoyed. Like, IKEA is not the only furniture store, and I got that. But I just think IKEA resonates really well with your average American because it describes the style of furniture it is, not so much the quality. So as I mentioned, there's not a lot of closets. There aren't a lot of like built-in storage in German houses and apartments. And so they'll buy furniture that's much more functional than I think what the average American has in their home, so that they can like get the storage they need out of the furniture. The other thing I'll point out in here is the heater. So when you look at the heater, I always think it looks like this old school, again, like throwback to the 1950s style heater. They don't have like central air here like we do in most of your new houses in America. They have these heaters, and actually they don't have air conditioning. I've never seen a house or an apartment with air conditioning. They rely on opening the windows and using the curtains and the shades and the blinds to basically keep their house cool in like a more natural way instead of using air conditioning. And then again, with the heaters, they have these like vents, and it doesn't really create a lot of airflow. And so Germans will, and there's a term for it, but I just don't know it, and even if I did, I wouldn't be able to pronounce it right, where they open up all of their windows for a certain amount of time to just basically like air out the house or the apartment to get any moisture out and make sure that no mold starts growing. And the last thing I'll show you in here is the blinds. So most German houses and apartments will have these roll down blinds that are basically on the outside of the window. And I did this, it's an electronic function, and so it's rolling it down itself. I don't think this is anything particularly fancy. It's pretty much standard. Maybe it's not electronic, maybe you have to manually roll it down like I did in my old apartment. But for the most part, their blinds are on the outside of the window, and they're shaped like this instead of ours, which are on the inside usually, and they have like the standard slatting type design where you can like open them and close them. All right guys, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. If there's anything I missed that you know of, a difference between a German apartment and an American apartment, feel free to put them in the comments. I would love to learn from you, and if you have any questions from me, throw them in there too. Thanks for joining me. I hope you subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting videos every week. See you next time. Bye. Bye. I'm gonna go edit this video now, so I need you to go.